Hi there, welcome back. Looking at Brokkir, focusing in as a review. How good is he? If you did pull him, are you happy or not? We checked the review section already. When it comes to a defender, if they're rated 5 stars, that is definitely a good sign. You might have had Cyrus and some others with 5 stars. Well, they're top. But for Brokkir to be a non-lord but a legendary and still have the same ratings, that's positive. Take in mind, there are still some good epics out there, but what does Brokkir have which other people don't? And that's good control. And you'll notice why, because of guide war, clan war, defending the waves of monsters, of course. Void Rift, well, certain areas with that as well, survivability, because it does get harder, the difficulties. Artifact material raid, I mean, I guess, but to be honest, you'd be using Abomination more so for his survivability, but as well damage. Brokkir is not about damage, just about control and keeping himself alive up to a certain point. But this is where it becomes game changing. If you get Brokkir, you have a lot of an easier time doing Gear Dungeon 2 and 1. I think it's more so Gear Dungeon 1 if I'm correct, where you got the wave of enemies that come on in and duplicate. And you know, I've tried so many times, I just can't beat it. And I've got Ingrid, I've got Hamet, I've got all kinds of greed, healers as well. It's absolutely crazy. It's difficult. Of course, you still need good gear, but you know, Mari is kind of good, but I don't think that's good enough to pair with Brokkir. Even better, you need to slow down those enemies before they completely overpower you. So that's why it's necessary. Faction Trial, yeah, I can understand that. Gear Raid 2 4.9, I'd understand that because Gear Raid 2, it's mainly focused on shield units, defenders when it comes to stage 19 onwards. Immortal Codex 4.7, are you kidding me? That is heavily underrated. Now, when it comes to Immortal Codex, that's just very vague in general, but specifically for one of the codexes, I'd say it's a 4.9 to 5 easily with Brokkir because of his control. And I'll show you which one I mean in just a second. Then as for the others, it's very understandable why they would be low because that's mainly damage-based stuff and that's what he's not all about that. Brokkir, right? If we go over to the Immortal Codex, get rid of that. Where is it? There we go. If it's still around, yeah, this one. Hellfire. So it's just waves and waves. Look, popular heroes. Brokkir pops up immediately because he's a go-to guy to be used. Slows down the enemies, controls them, enables the damage on the enemies themselves because they tick away their health bar. So as long as you hold them back from getting to the boss, as you see on screen, they will die with time. So Brokkir, very good. And for people to rate him 4.7 out of 5, I don't know what the hell people are on, but it's not looking too good. So there's a level of delusionalism there. Brokkir is good. Okay, Brokkir is a game changer. As much as people like to put down defenders, this one's an exception. And you know what also makes this unique is finally we've actually got a decent dwarf unit because you don't get that many good ones in this game. Most of them tend to be trash. I mean, I've only got like a couple and it's probably more than enough. Where are they? Give me a second. Yeah, there we go. This guy, Cratch, not good at all. Pretty bad. And where's the other one? God, they must be so small that I can't see him on screen. There we go. Azor. Crap. Not worth it. You see the ratings, you get the idea already. You pull any of them, you're going to be sighing, you're going to be disappointed. And we've even got Bruno. Not exactly good, is he? Bit disappointing. Of course, people can say, yeah, but he can be good. Yes, if you put good gear on him. And you can do that with really anyone. Put good gear on people and then they'll do a lot better than usual. But do most people, free-to-play players, have access to that? No. They hope to get a decent, good unit which can perform even better with average/above average gear, but not god tier, because getting god tier gear requires a lot of resources, time, energy, and maybe some money as well, depending. So for someone like Brokkir, It's all in the skills and the abilities that really make him good, besides, having to gear him out. It's not as intensive here, but you'll be focusing on health, defense, maybe some tier 2 gear if you do have access to it. His cost is 19, but his block is 3 because he's a defender. We've seen the awakening already. When the hero is inflicted with freeze, increases received healing and shield effect by 20%. Very good for gear raid 2. Definitely. All damage reductions. Iceberg expires 100% max HP. You got that survivability. Wish it would stop kicking me off. Now, let's see the talents. Grants physical damage reduction and magic damage reduction. So that's why Brokkir will do well in Gear Dungeon 1 and 2, because one does the physical damage, if one does the magical damage, and in each one Brokkir can reduce it, which is a good thing. So what does that actually mean? Reduction by 10%, which is good, and the magic the same. It says it does this, it grants the physical and magical damage reduction, meaning 10% less damage taken, I'm guessing, to the adjacent allies who are on the field. So, allies nearby who get attacked by these physical or magical enemies attacking you, 10% reduction. So you're actually going to do better from the looks of it. You're going to survive. As well, when possessing freeze, it grants physical damage reduction and magic damage reduction instead. What does that mean? I thought that's the same thing. Oh, this time it's a 30%, even greater. So when freeze is present with Brokkir, the physical and magic damage reduction by 30%, making the people even stronger in surviving and not dying as quick. That's really good, to be honest. It can help all over the place. When it helps other units, like a buff in a way, or a debuff on the enemies, Brokkir is great. So deals damage to one enemy. Doesn't say how much damage, but it's irrelevant because that's not what he does. Freezing breath passive, receiving damage, 10% chance to freeze 2 enemies in range. If the hero has freeze, the chance will be increased by 20%. Not too bad. Now in terms of the chances triggering it, it's not 100%. That's the only downfall here. A 10% chance, going up a little bit more, isn't really much, but I guess if there's a lot of enemies attacking Brokkir, for each attack, that 10% chance, higher the chances more enemies present attack him. Iceberg, another passive. When receiving fatal damage for the first time, the hero gains freeze and becomes immune to all damage for 8 seconds. And you can increase the duration as well. So, becoming immune to all damage, very good for the Gear Raid 2. Stage 19 onwards, when the enemies run on in, like suicide bombers, and you gotta deploy Brokkir quick. That's survivability. Frozen, unable to take action. So he freezes himself, but in doing so, he's immune to all damage. But I'm guessing when he gains freeze, then it links back to this, that if the hero has freeze, the chance will be increased by 20%. So as he's disabling himself to survive, as the other enemies are attacking, the chances of freezing the enemies back goes up. Good amount of control, give and take. Now this one, it is a manual. You can reduce it to about 900 cost, so it's not too bad. I think the most interesting thing is level 5, at the skill cost reduced by 100, and the initial rage is plus 400. That sounds very interesting. It says gains freeze and a shield equal to 80% of max HP, and it looks like you can possibly upgrade the shield strength. Yes. During the effect of freeze, the freeze effect will disappear with the shield. Right. So basically, he's got an ultimate, which is for survivability, and also a passive here. But it says when receiving fatal damage for the first time, becomes frozen and immune to all damage. Does that only happen in one turn only until they're redeployed again? Maybe. Because the same, for the very first time the person receives fatal damage, they'll go into the freeze state. So anything after that, they probably won't go back into it unless they're deployed again separately. Right, so there's a chance that you're more likely to activate the passive here before you activate the ultimate. Either way, both do the same thing, but with the ultimate, you also gain a shield. And I said, Gear Raid 2, the desert one, with that creature where it slams the ground, it says you need shield units. So there you go. That's where you use Brokkir. The physical, magical damage reduction by 10 up to 30%, good for Gear Dungeon 1 and 2. So you can see where Brokkir really shines. Definitely worth having in your team. And you can always team Brokkir up with either Hearts or Isolde just for additional bonuses there. All in all, you get Brokkir, it can be a game changer in certain areas. So good luck with your summonings if you haven't done already, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye for now.